right, so have the kids been dismissed? Are we good? I think we're good. All right. Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome to Impact, and I want to tell you just one quick thing, one quick story about kind of how Impact Church got started. So I was visiting my brother in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he attends an Impact Church there, not affiliated with this one, totally separate, but we were visiting with my brother, and he took us out to an ice cream shop. And while we were sitting in the ice cream shop, we were out on the patio, and there was all kinds of beautiful landscaping, bushes and flowers. I mean, it was really beautiful sitting out there on that patio. And my brother was telling me that the lady who owned that ice cream shop had cancer, and their church, their Impact Church, had done all these service projects around town on one certain week. And one of the projects that they had done was they had come by and just trimmed up all that landscaping. That was just one of many projects they had done that week. And I said, man, that's awesome. That's beautiful. And get this. Here's the part that just blew my mind. He said that other churches noticed what their Impact Church was doing, and other churches started giving them checks and saying, we've noticed what you're doing around town. We love it. Here's a check. Keep doing it. And I said, are you serious? When other churches start writing you a check because they love all the service things that you're doing something right. And in that moment, I said, I want to start a church like that. I want to start a church that is seriously involved in the community, and that we get our people out and to go and to make a difference in the lives of others and to shine the light of Jesus. And so that's the kind of church that we have started. And so if you're looking for a church where you can truly make a difference, where we give you opportunities to go out and touch the lives of others, we do that here at Impact. Well, let's get into our Christmas message tonight. Let me ask you this. What does it take for you to call something truly great? Like to give it the label, man, that was truly great. Not just good, but great. Like, what makes the difference between a good rack of ribs and a great rack of ribs? And I will tell you that my wife and I are usually disappointed when we go out to restaurants and we order ribs, because they're just not as tender as we would like for them to be. They have good flavor, but they're not tender. They're not falling off the bone, right? But my son, Eric, he's an adult, and he makes some awesome ribs. They're amazing. He slow cooks them in an oven for 10 hours and then finishes them off on the grill. And they are tender, juicy, falling off the bone, melt in your mouth. And I say those are truly great ribs. I give them the label great. When is the last time that you felt like you saw a movie that was truly great? You walked out of the theater and you said, man, that was a great movie. I would definitely see that one again. Some of the great Christmas classics, like Home Alone. It was a classic when I was a kid, and it's still a classic. Polar Express, Miracle on 34th Street. Those are great movies that have stood the test of time, right? What about a great restaurant? Like, when's the last time you left a restaurant and you said, man, that was a great restaurant, truly great? So I asked my son, he's 7 years old, Josiah. I said, Josiah, what is a great restaurant to you? And here's what he said. He said, Chick-fil-A, what else did he say? Wendy's and Culver's. And I said, man, apparently we have way different definitions of what makes a great restaurant. Because I would definitely not put some of those in the great level, right? We have different definitions. And my kids are always begging me to take them to McDonald's, and I refuse. Because I worked there for 5 years, and I don't care if I never eat McDonald's again. I nicknamed it McBarfles. McBarfles, because I do not like it. What would it take for you to consider God to be great? Like, you would say, wow, he is truly a great God. Like, what kind of qualities would a great God have? But what if I told you there is a God who is great, and he loves you very much? He's a powerful God. He wants to help you in life, and he wants a relationship with you. I believe we serve a great God, and you could probably guess whose name I'm going to say here at our Christmas candlelight service. His name is Jesus. I want to tell you about this great God. His name is Jesus tonight. I hope to convince you that Jesus is a great God. So in Luke 1, verse 33, it says, excuse me, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants forever, his kingdom. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, verse 31. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants forever. His kingdom will never end. And so the angel told Mary, he will be called great. And then in Isaiah chapter 9, and verses 6 and 7, it says, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of his government and peace, there will be no end. And so he will be great, and he will be called. Right? That's what we read in Luke. He will be great, and he will be called. And I believe his greatness is based off of what he is called. And so today I want to go over the 4 different things that Jesus would be called in Isaiah that we just read. The first one was Wonderful Counselor. How many of you know Jesus is a wonderful counselor? Amen. And counselor just means advisor, teacher, guide. He's someone who teaches you, who guides you. Have you ever had a teacher that you could really tell they cared about you as a student and they really wanted to help you in life? They poured into you. I had one of those great teachers. He was a professor in college, and he was from Georgia, the state of Georgia, and he had a funny way of talking, and he had some funny phrases. So his name was Jesse Powell Pollard. He was Dr. Pollard, and he talked like this. He was from Georgia. And he had some funny sayings. I said this one the other day, and my daughter, her reaction, I said, girl, you are blind as a Bessie bug. And she started laughing, and she goes, what is a Bessie bug, Dad? I said, I don't know. It's something Dr. Pollard used to say. You are blind as a Bessie bug. One thing he used to threaten us with is he said, you need to take your Greek Bible. He was our Greek teacher, first century Greek. It's what the New Testament in the Bible was written in. And he would say, you need to take your Greek Bible everywhere you go. You better have it in chapel. He said, if I come by chapel and you don't have your Greek Bible, I'm going to hit you with the wet squirrel. And I'm like, what? Hit us with a wet squirrel? Why? One of the things he would ask us, he would teach something and he'd be like, does that make sense? Do you understand that? And he'd look at it and he'd say, he could tell on our faces we did not understand. He'd go, well, clear as mud. Clear as mud. He said, so you don't understand? Well, that's just job security for me. Job security. We're like, what? But one of the good advice he did give is he said, as you go into ministry, he said, don't throw stones in glass houses. Don't tear up their church. Don't tear up people's houses, the house of God. Just, don't cause trouble. Just don't throw stones in glass houses. Well, I want to tell you some things that are wonderful about this counselor named Jesus. He is a wonderful counselor. So one of the things that is wonderful about him is he is always available. Jesus is always available. You can call on him and talk to him about anything. You don't have to make an appointment. You don't have to fill out 500 sheets of paperwork to see him. You don't have to leave a message and hope he'll get back to you. You don't have to wait in line. You can call on Jesus and he is always available. Amen. Psalm 16:7 says, I will praise the Lord who counsels me. Even at night, my heart instructs me. Has the Lord ever woken you up in the middle of the night and counseled you? He has me. He's woken me up in the middle of the night and he wanted to show me something. He wanted to teach me something. And I'll tell you another thing that's wonderful about him is he always has the answer and the solution. He always has the answer and the solution. You know, counselors can give you some good suggestions, right? They have some good ideas and good suggestions. But there's no one who knows what the wonderful counselor knows. James 1:5 says, if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. You can ask God for wisdom, and he will give it to you. You may be struggling in your marriage, and God knows how to help you in your marriage. You may be buried deep in debt, and Jesus knows how to counsel you how to get out of that debt. He will instruct you. God, the wonderful counselor, wants to show you what to do. And he will get specific with you sometimes. You know, he's given me messages before. You need to take your daughter on a date. You need to go out and take her out. You know, do this with your kids. Say this to your wife. Give this to so-and-so. He'll get specific with you sometimes when he counsels you. He will encourage you. I can't tell you how many times God has encouraged me during my prayer time. You're praying, you're discouraged, and you just need a lift up, and God has encouraged me during my prayer time. I'm trying to tell you that we have a wonderful counselor today that wants to help you in your life, in every aspect of your life. Are you carving out time to spend with this wonderful counselor? Next, he is a mighty God. Everybody say mighty.
Mighty.
We don't use that word too much anymore, right? Mighty, not since the days of Mighty Mouse. Remember Mighty Mouse? He is a mighty God. We serve a mighty God. I'm so glad it didn't say tiny God, right? He will be called tiny God. He will be called puny God. He will be called wimpy God. No, he will be called mighty God. Mighty God. What makes someone mighty? What makes someone powerful? I remember when we were kids, my dad used to come around and he would, to us kids, and he'd say, flex your muscle. Show me what you got. We'd go like this, you know, we'd flex and try to make a muscle. And sometimes he'd be like, ooh, you've been working out, haven't you? That's a pretty big muscle, right? Other times he'd feel it and he'd go, nah, mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes. Josiah, when he was smaller, he's 7 now, but when he was smaller, when he was about 5, he would pretend like he could pick me up. Right? Daddy, I'm going to pick you up. I'm like, okay, I want to see that. Pick me up, right? Pick me up. I don't know why, but I like to pick up my dog Marley. I think we got a picture here. And he's almost as big as a horse. And I really don't know why. I just like to pick him up and hold him. It's not because he enjoys it, because he does not enjoy it. He tolerates it. He's like, when are you going to put me down here, Dad? You know, but I don't know why I do it. Maybe it just makes me feel strong. I don't know, powerful. I don't know. Some of you may remember the Saturday Night Live skit with Hans and Franz. Anybody remember Hans and Franz? I am Hans and I am Franz, and we are going to pump you up. So you don't go home and your wife call you a girly man. Why is it guys always want to be like strong? It's all about, you know, flexing and being strong, right? Mighty. But I want to tell you, Jesus is a mighty God. And Jesus did many things, if you want to say flexing his power, if you will. He did many powerful things to show that he is the Son of God. Many powerful things. He is a mighty God, always has been, always will be. So I love this outline that I learned years ago from one of my professors out of Mark chapter 4, and it goes all the way through the end of Mark chapter 5. It's 4 stories back to back to back to back that show that Jesus is a mighty God. So the first thing he shows is he is Lord or master over natural disasters. Right? Natural disasters. He calms a stormy sea. The storm is raging all around them, and he says, peace, be still, and it goes completely calm. And I love his followers, his students' reaction. They go, who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. They had never seen that kind of power come out of a person before. Who is this? I like how Matthew's version says, what kind of man is this? I'll tell you what kind of man, a God, a mighty God. He can calm the storms. He is Lord over natural disasters. The next story, he casts these demons out of this guy. This guy has so many demons. When Jesus asks his name, he says, "We are legion, for we are many." There was a whole legion of demons in this guy. And Jesus casts out the whole legion of demons, and he is back in his right mind. Right? And so this guy who's back in his right mind, he goes around to the 10 cities and tells them about what Jesus had done for them. And it says, all the people were amazed. Because they knew this guy. They're like, wait, you were the crazy guy who lived out in the tombs. I remember. I had heard about you. Right? And it says, all the people were amazed. Because nobody else could do anything about that guy. But Jesus could. This other lady, the next story, this lady comes up and touches the hem of his garment and is healed of 12 years of a bleeding disorder. Why? Because Jesus is Lord over disease. He's Lord over natural disasters. He's Lord over demons. He's Lord over disease. And then the next story, he raises a dead girl back to life. She was about 12 years old. And I love what it says when Jesus walks in, and all the people who had seen this girl dead, they're crying and wailing, and he walks in and he goes, "Don't cry, the child is not dead, but asleep." And it says, but they laughed at him. They're like, "This guy's crazy. What do you mean she's not dead? She's asleep. We saw her dead. He's crazy. Get this guy out of here," right? They mocked him. But they didn't mock him after he brought her back from the dead. It says, at this, they were completely astonished. They were astonished. They were totally blown away. Like, he brought a girl back from the dead. Jesus is Lord over natural disasters. Jesus is Lord over demons. Jesus is Lord over disease. And Jesus is even Lord over death. Jesus is a mighty God. Jesus is a mighty God. Jesus has saved people from drug addiction. He has saved people from broken marriages. He has saved people from depression and given them purpose. Jesus is a mighty God. I'm trying to convince somebody this morning, Jesus is a mighty God. And if you are willing, he can help you in your situation. If you will let him. If you will, the Bible describes it as surrender. Saying, "God, I'm not fighting you anymore. You have your way in my life. I surrender to your will." And he can help you and he can show you his love. I like the next term that it gave Jesus. Everlasting Father. Everlasting Father. How long is everlasting?
Forever.
Forever. Yeah. Everlasting means forever, ever, right? On and on and on, forever. It never ends. He is everlasting Father. Do any of your kids ever complain, "Dad, this is taking forever"? Right? I know my kids do. Josiah, "Daddy, this is taking forever." I was like, I don't think you understand what forever means, because it's a lot longer than the 5 minutes we've been sitting here. Right? You don't understand what forever means if that's how you're using it. Right? But what does the Bible say? Jesus is everlasting. He lasts forever. In the Bible it says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. In Revelation, he is the Alpha and the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. Jesus has always existed before the creation of the world. Before the world was even created, Jesus was there. He was, in fact, John 1 says that he actually had a hand in creating the world. He was there. He existed before the world began, and he's going to exist long after the world is no more. He is everlasting. He is everlasting. I love in the Great Commission where Jesus was about to leave earth and he gathered his followers together and he said this awesome phrase. He said, "And surely I am with you always, even to the very end of the age." To the end of the age. How can Jesus say he's going to be there to the end of the age? Well, because he's everlasting. Right? And by the way, that's a beautiful promise for the followers of God, isn't it? "And surely I am with you." I'm going to be with you always, even to the end of the age. He's everlasting. Listen, to those who are followers of Jesus, he said, "I will never leave you or forsake you." And somebody needs to hear that tonight. Somebody needs to hear that tonight. You need to know God has not left you or abandoned you. if you haven't sensed His presence for a while, God hasn't left you or forgotten you. He hasn't gotten tired of you. God is right there where He's always been, doing what He's always been doing. God hasn't left you high and dry. He's right where He's always been. And some of you need to be reminded of that. The everlasting God is in this place. He is the everlasting God. And that brings us to the last one, which is Prince of Peace. I like that. Jesus is the Prince of Peace. Of the greatness of His government and peace, there will be no end, we read. God wants you to have peace tonight. God wants you to have peace. But I tell you, the more the world goes on, the more I notice a lack of peace in people. You know, they see the upheaval of the world, and they see the wars and the battles going on in different places, and COVID and just all this stuff. And I see more and more people anxious, afraid, fearful. But I want to tell you that that's not God's will, is for you to be running around afraid all the time. We know that because Jesus said He came to bring us peace. He came to bring us peace. No matter what is going on, God wants you to have peace. John 14:27, Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." Notice it says, do not let your hearts be troubled. How many of you know we have a choice whether we let our hearts be troubled or not? We have a choice in that. If we let our hearts be troubled. Do not let your heart be troubled, He said. You can have peace, Jesus said, because I'm giving it to you. What problems do you have because you haven't taken it to God? So I want you to do a little exercise with me. Okay, if you'll play along, I feel like this is going to be good for you if you'll do this. Think about whatever's got you anxious right now. Okay? What's got you fearful? What's got you afraid? What are you anxious about? You have it in your head. You have it in your head. Everybody got it? You got something that you're anxious about? Okay, now I want you to just make a little cup in front of you like this with your hands. Just make a cup with your hands. Now I want you to turn that, whatever you're anxious about, turn it into a single phrase. One phrase. And then I want you to just give it to God. I want you to just give that up to God. Say, God, take this, whatever your phrase is. Just give it to Him. All right? And now, no take-backs. No take-backs. It's gone. It's gone. You give it to God. You leave it in His hands. And don't worry about it anymore. Give it to the Prince of Peace. And so I want to give you some things that you can do to apply this today. Okay, we call these at Impact our next steps. You have next steps on the back of your program, and you can pick one or all of these. You can do one or two or three or four, all of them, doesn't matter. But you just pick which ones you want to do, and you just check that off and say, I want to do that one. And the first one is, if you are a Christian, you already have access to the peace of God. It's already available to you. The Bible promises that. You have access to the peace of God. So ask for peace through prayer. The Bible says in Philippians 4:6-7 that if we are anxious, we can pray to God, and the peace of God will come upon us. And He will bring peace to our hearts. If you are anxious about anything, you can pray about it, and God will give you peace. And so pray to the God of peace and ask Him for peace. If you're troubled, afraid, full of anxiety, you can come and ask, and you can walk out of these doors tonight full of peace. Number 2, stay close to God in prayer and in the Word, in the Bible. Stay close to God through prayer and in the Bible. Guys, sheep get afraid only when they get away from the shepherd. The only time sheep are afraid is when they wander away from the shepherd. As long as the shepherd is there and the sheep are close to the shepherd, they're not afraid. They don't need to worry because the wolves won't come near while the shepherd's there. Right? And sometimes we get worried and we don't have peace because we're not staying close to the shepherd. Stay close to Him through the Word and prayer and daily devotion time. with Him. We knew this lady that she was part of one of our Bible study groups called discipleship groups. And we would all do the same 5 Bible readings each week together, right? And this girl had horrible depression and anxiety. But she became part of our discipleship groups, our D groups, and she said that whenever she got afraid or anxious about something, she would just do the next study in the order in the book, and her anxiety would go away. Isn't that amazing? She said, whenever I get anxious, I just do the next study. Well, she got way ahead of everybody else because she just kept doing the next lesson and the next lesson, right? And she would write out these beautiful prayers. She would fill up all the margins of the page, writing out these prayers and what she'd learned through her Bible study. Guys, I believe that's exactly what the Bible says. You stay close to God, He can give you peace. She was getting peace from God because she was doing those daily times with Him. And now, if you're here and you're not yet a Christian, you haven't taken steps towards becoming a Christian, I encourage you, take steps towards making peace with God. I believe strongly everyone on this earth needs to make peace with God and get right with Jesus. The main reason Jesus came to earth is to bring peace between us and God. And so what you need to understand is before our sins are forgiven, sin separates us from God. It acts as a barrier. There's this barrier between us and God. There's like tension in the relationship. And so we need our sins forgiven so that we can have the barrier removed and be brought back together with God. Right? You need your sins forgiven. If you want to make peace, be at peace with God and have a clear conscience, you can have that. The Bible gives the ways to doing that. And by the way, on a personal note, Andrea's uncle passed away 2 days ago at the age of 59. And I'm just telling you, I know, he believed he had many more years ahead of him. This was very unexpected. And sometimes we just think that we're going to live forever, and we're going to live, I'm going to live to be 80. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. None of us are. We are not guaranteed tomorrow. And so please get right with God today. Don't think, I'll just wait till later in life at some other time. I'll wait until I'm on my deathbed and then I'll get right with God. You may not have a deathbed moment. You may just be taken. Get right with God today. Take those steps. And so here's what God wants you to do. He wants you to put your faith in Jesus as the Son of God. Believe that Jesus is the Son of God. And He proved that by showing He has power over natural disasters, over demons, over disease, and over death. Right? That's why I went over that. All that shows He is the Son of God. So believe Jesus is the Son of God. Believe that Jesus died on the cross for your sins and mine. Yours and mine. All right? Repent, which is a Bible word that just means to change. To stop living for yourself and instead live for God. Right? Make changes in your life of how you live and start living for God. And then He wants you to be baptized in the waters of baptism. And we have a baptistry behind me there. There's water back there, and we can baptize people there. And so if you've never done that, I want to encourage you, take steps. And then there's one last thing on there that says, make an appointment with Jeremy, that's me, and I've given you my number so that you can call or talk to me about baptism. If you're saying, I haven't done that yet. I've never been baptized. Or maybe I need to be baptized again, or whatever questions you have about baptism, I've given you the number to reach out to me. I'm glad to buy you coffee and meet up with you and just talk about your journey with God and where you're at and take you to the next step. Okay, so if you want to respond tonight, we're going to have our praise band come back up right now. And I'm going to ask Lacey, would you be willing to go to the back for prayer? And I'll be in the back as well. So we're going to have a male and a female. And if you're sitting there and you're saying, man, I need to get right with God. Like I need to take those steps today. You can go and see us. If you're more comfortable with a male, I'll be back there. If you're more comfortable with a female, Lacey will be back there. But we want to help you